Hello, my name is Billie Dalton. This is my first podcast since recovering from my injuries serving in the military. I want to share an idea I created in 1997 before going to war in Iraq. I personally blended my coursework, soldier song, and music to real-world production experience and community broadcasting all in one project. It's built around veteran stories and music special topics, or anyone's stories music-directed study. And the core concept is simple. As the executive producer, I would independently produce a class television program through PBS, Delta Studios. I will spearhead the first stages, then make ready for MCTV in Midland and/or Access Vision in Battle Creek, with the goal of getting it broadcast on the local TV station.
So, what would that actually look like in practice? First, this would be structured as a special topics broadcast course or a directed study, depending on what makes the most sense academically. The emphasis would be on hands-on production, planning the show, coordinating participants, conducting interviews, capturing footage, and shaping everything into a finished episode that's ready for community broadcast. Before anything gets filmed, the project starts with the necessary permissions. That means waivers and releases. Everyone involved as a participant would need to sign the required forms, and I would provide those documents. The plan includes release forms for participation as well as liability releases. Of course, those forms would be used only after they're reviewed and approved through the appropriate channel, specifically the Dalton Gang Band of Veterans Production and Music Education Department Director. Once releases are in place, the creative work begins. I'd start by taking photos, mapping out what the show needs to communicate, and writing interview scripts. And to be clear, the participants featured in the program would be selected based on who is chosen, assuming that works for you and it aligns with what the producer/director approves for the course structure. Then comes production. We'd move into digital filming, capturing interviews, gathering visuals that support the story we're telling, and building the content with an eye toward a final broadcast-ready program. This isn't just recording for the sake of recording. It's producing a coherent show with a clear beginning, middle, and end, and with professional expectations in mind. After filming is done, I would handle post-production and deliver a polished version of the program. That includes editing the content, creating an introduction, and putting together credits. For the narration or hosting, there are flexible options. You could serve as the narrator, or you could assign someone else to host. Either way, the end result would be a complete show with a purposeful structure and a finished presentation. To support this proposal, I also have a reference letter from the Access Vision contact, along with copies of the release forms that would be required for all participants. That documentation is meant to show that the broadcast partner and process are real and that the project is set up to follow standard practices for community media production. If this sounds workable, the next step would be confirming whether this fits better under soldier song and music, MUS special topics, or MUS directed study, and then determining the approval path with the producer, director, and management. From there, we can identify potential participants, confirm the release process, and start planning the first round of interviews and filming. Best wishes and Godspeed.
Welcome to Delta Campus Studios interview series. I'm your host, Billie Dalton, and we have a wonderful and special guest today, our first veteran of the day and our very own Delta's Band of Veterans Club, Mrs. Crystal Sanders. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, Billy. Thank you.
Please share to Delta your story of military life and how the transition to civilian affected you.
Yeah, so I'm an Air Force veteran, and when I signed up for the military, my recruiter suggested that I sign an open general. I had expressed interest in the medical field, and he said that was going to be the best way to go. So I was pretty surprised when I got to basic training and they were handing out jobs, and my job was Morse code operator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was a little bit confused how that correlated into the medical field, since I'd seen my grandfather. He was retired from the Navy, and I would see him in his den tapping out messages to his buddies and, you know, chuckling a little bit. So, yeah, I was just really surprised that Morse code was still being used.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah. Turns out I was pretty good at it, and I was awarded top in my class. Unfortunately, I was injured on base, and I've ruptured both of my eardrums. I do have some hearing loss in regard to that, but they've, you know, I'm doing okay. After a brief medical hold, I was discharged honorably and medically from the Air Force and went on to work in retail management. Sorry.
You're doing fine.
Okay. You know, I worked with some high-end retailers out all over the country. I worked in Las Vegas. I worked in Sacramento, San Diego. Got to travel all around. Really enjoyed that, and did travel abroad a number of times. Went to Sweden, Australia, Scotland, London. You know, so I would say that transition from military into civilian, you know, there was a little bit of herky-jerkiness there, you know, not knowing, you know, what to do with myself initially.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, eventually I did find my path.
Oh, good. You're a graduate from Delta College. Please share with our viewers your feelings on that and how Delta has affected you, as well as learning here, and how it impacted your life.
Yeah. So after about 6 years of working in medical administration, COVID hit. And I think I can speak for a lot of people that you know, things felt very chaotic and uncertain. I wanted to do something more, mm-hmm. and I did have a lot of interest in medical administration, so I researched some colleges, mm-hmm. SVSU, Delta, and Delta had just really had the programs that I was most interested in. Also, the thought of going to a university terrified me. You know, I'm an adult, and you know, being around all these kids that are straight out of high school, you know, with that mindset going into it, I wasn't quite there yet, and so there was a lot of self-convincing going on. But Delta just, you know, I qualified for the VRNE program, mm-hmm. which is, you know, really important for, you know, any veteran, whether they're just fresh out of the military or years out. It's a great program, and the veteran staff here at Delta just made that part of it feel seamless. You know, I didn't have to worry about, you know, getting funding for the next semester, or, you know, getting those books paid for. They made sure that I had everything I needed, and all I had to do was focus on my studies.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
You're a coordinator at Bay Veterans Foundation in Bay City. Please share with our viewers your experiences and what you do there.
Yeah, I have been honored to be the Women Veteran Outreach Coordinator with Bay Veterans Foundation. It's on Madison in Bay City. and I am working to build a network of women veterans. There are over 1,700 female veterans in our Tri-City areas, and I would like to meet as many of those ladies as I possibly can and create some camaraderie and community with my fellow women. We've had different experiences in the military than men have. And I think it's important to really create some community in that sense. The Bay Veterans Foundation is an incredible facility. It's a nonprofit, and they have that same vision, helping veterans help themselves. There's a woodworking shop. We do woodworking classes. There's a metalsmith shop. We have guitar classes. And I know that you have a lot of interest in creating a lot of fellowship in that. I think there's a lot to be said with those activities as a therapy for our veterans to get through some things like PTSD and be able to talk to each other.
That's for sure. I know I share some similar experiences dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder for my time serving in the military. But it's something that was hard to overcome, and I'm still having my moments about it. But that's our show today. Crystal Sanders of Bay Veterans Foundation. Sorry. Our first Delta Band of Veterans Club. We thank you very much. And this has been a Delta Studios interview series, and I'm your host, Billie Dalton. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Delta College Deep Dive. I'm Paul Bolcher, and today we have esteemed guest Billie Dalton with us. Billie, would you please introduce yourself?
Hi, Paul. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Billie.
Hey, thank you for having me here. I would love to share some of my stories and things with you. Sure.
Well, by all means, Billie. Well, Billie, I hear that you have prior media experience as well as musical prowess. Would you like to elaborate on that and show off some stuff that you
Absolutely,
have?
Sure. I first initiated my musical career back in the late 70s and early 80s. And my first time being at Mickey Gillies, they were filming Urban Cowboy, which luckily I was a part of that filming. But I continued on playing music afterwards and formed my own group called the Golden Bullet Band. And this was one of the pictures from that first album right here.
All right.
And continuing on with the Remember Me song title. And then from there, I had continued on doing Access Vision shows down in Battle Creek. And I would bring in local talents and get them on television for the local community. And what inspired me was always looking at the veterans part of it, because there's a lot of good entertainers that are veterans that I like to help. And then doing so in the late 1990s, I was inducted in the Michigan Country Music Hall of Fame, and that's a lifetime membership that they give for their prestige entertainers. And then I was recognized by the White House during President Clinton days, acknowledging my band called the Dalton Gang. And then my second album, Catching My Second Wind, this is the cover for the entitled album that I had done. So currently I produce with Bay Veterans Foundation in Bay City, and we are trying to help veterans record their music, and so they can be inspired of their healing process that they get, seeing how the process unfolds to help them heal.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I know you also are a big part of the Soldier Song and Voice program. Why don't you tell us a little about it,
Sure. The Soldiers in Song and Voice was initiated back in 2011 by, his name was Mr. Kroc and his son, Welch. And they covered the first chapter for producing songs for veterans. I, however, started an initiative back in the 1980s where it was the Soldier Song and Music program that I had done throughout my duration of music, helping veterans, showing them how to play the guitar, actually record their music, and make it finalized for them to where they can have that inspiration to continue on with their musical career. Right. And currently I'm producer at the Bay Veterans Foundation, and I'm trying to launch that as well. When I did my second album, Dick Wagner was the producer. He's the maestro of rock and roll, and taking a country Western player like me who loves old-time rock and roll country and country music,
right,
and developed the my second titled song, Catching My Second Wind, which he felt that it was a hit, #1 hit for 1997. And that's what got me into the Country Music Hall of Fame.
All right, nice. That's very cool. I always like a little bit of old-fashioned rock and roll and stuff,
Well, I still do love it.
Yeah. Finally, Billy, do you have any advice for young people at home? Anything that we should know for our lives?
Anyone that's coming out into the world, whatever the dream goals that you want to do, go for it. I mean, do it while you're young, and be inspired for your dreams, and don't stop trying. That's all I got to say.
I think that's all. Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can't believe I let you turn around and simply walk away. Nothing to say. Trying to forget you, doing my best to get you off my mind, leave you behind. Well, it's been a losing battle, but I think I'm beginning to see a little light. 'Cause on the night you left, you knocked the breath right out of me. It hurts to lose a lover and a friend. You shot me down, but I'm coming around, back on my feet. Feeling strong, glad you're gone, moving along, catching my second wind. Guess I'll be fine, give me some time, feels like I'm catching my second wind. catching my second wind.
Hello and good morning, Delta students. For today's show, I've brought on a musical guest to demonstrate a quick guitar lesson for us. I'm Stefan, your host for today's show. Our guest is Billy. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
So, Billy, could you give us a little information on your musical background before our demonstration?
Sure. I started back in the 1967 when I first got involved with music, and then from one thing it led in meeting Del Shannon down at the LaSalle Hotel in Battle Creek. And then later on I started playing locally with bars and gigs around town, and then from there I went into playing in the studios, playing for the Houston Livestock and Rodeo. I played with bands throughout my life. I mean, there was a group right here I used to play with. His name was Norm Thurman with the Runaways. I played with him. He signed an autograph album for me, plus doing my CDs back in the late 70s and early 80s. And just prior to me going to war, I had everything all in lined up to be mass produced, and everything was put in the closet. No one knew where I was or who I was or what, because I came back with PTSD and I didn't care nothing about this. In fact, I was going to burn it up, and my wife stopped me. I was inducted in the Michigan Country Music Hall of Fame back in 1997, and I also was recognized by the President of the United States, Mr. Clinton.
Oh, okay.
And a good friend of mine that helped with the production of my CD, his name is Jim Cummings, which I was hoping to have him come in and do something with Jack.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Billy. Now, what are you here to teach us about today?
Well, other than to legitimize my true fame to Michigan Country Music Hall of Fame, come to find out when that was bought, they didn't have none of this.
No.
So all the people that had been recognized and certified did a transfer with
Gotcha.
the new owners, and I didn't, because they didn't have it. But I want to do a little tuning here for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to have my hat on to do it.
Just got to complete the look.
Well, yes, it's been a while, but I'm trying to get back in the mood. And Mom said, go back to your music. Now, when you play by ear, first thing you need to know is your guitar in tune? So if it's in tune, you can go ahead and start playing. Now, this is not in tune. So
How would you tune it? The things at the end there?
well, yeah, these keys right here helps tune it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't
And-
play instruments, so.
And the frets, here, that's each here. And of course the strings here, you gotta know the numbering of the strings, E all the way, the E, G, G, B's. And, but when you first start tuning the guitar by ear, you go to the 5th fret, hit that note, then hit the next string. And compare the notes. So it's gotta come up a little bit. And then you do the same thing. Bring it up a little bit.
See, that's talent, because
And then the
I would have
next
thought it
one.
sounded good already.
Now that's way down a little bit. Bring it up a little. A little bit more.
Getting there.
Now, when you play a chord, we'll start out with a G chord.
Okay. Sounds good.
And you go through the notes. When you're writing your own music and wanting to do your own songs, you got to have a melody.
Yeah.
And those chord project transference of what I did there is a melody, different in different keys, but it maintained standard beat.
Sounds good. I like it. Wow. Would you say, because you told us so much, but what you started back in, you said like the 60s.
Yeah.
What was kind of your main genre start? Because I feel like maybe back then, and the sound that you played for us so far sounds a little more country, would I say?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I started. I was good old country and bluegrass.
Yeah.
My
okay.
dad played banjo, and he played down in Ohio where I was born,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and that's what kind of carried over to me, and I got to enjoy people playing country music,
Awesome.
and that's where I started.
Now, can you tell us a little bit more about stuff here? I see there's some movies here. Now,
Sure.
you're playing guitars, but why is there movies?
Well, I've been in 8 films
8
since
films. Wow.
since I've been back from Iraq.
Okay.
And my first one was with the Machine Gun Preacher, and that's this one right here. Sam Chelders, that's me and him, picture on the set. Then he gave me a signed autograph when I asked him for one.
Awesome.
That was back when I was a little thinner too. And but I used to wear a red scarf around my neck, and that was to help take care of the sweat.
Oh, gotcha.
Especially during the summertime, you're out there and you got to have something to wipe your head.
I bet, yeah.
So I use a red scarf. They always ask me, "Why are you wearing that red scarf?" I said, "Well, I got to have something to wipe my head off." And then from there, I went with let's see, This Must Be the Place was the other movie,
Okay.
and that was with Sean Penn.
Oh, wow.
And after that, went into the Transformer movies down in Detroit that was
Really?
recorded.
Wow.
And then from there, we went to the Batman versus Superman movie.
Okay. Okay.
And then after that, there was the Detroit Project, and that was about the 1967 riots that took place. I saw the movie. My participation in this was an operator, and getting the set up for recording and for camera shots and everything. So with that, then my next film after that was called The Old Man and the Gun with Robert Redford. And
famous actor.
one of my famous actors.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed Robert Redford. He was the man in my book.
Rest in peace recently, sorry.
Yeah, he just passed away. And I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But there's a man here. His name is Mike Redford that does a show for the follow-up.
Oh, really?
And he is my now new
Favorite
Robert
Redford.
Redford.
There you go.
So with that, then I used to play down in Kansas at Coffeyville and Meade, Kansas. We used to do a demonstration show down there. These are the brochures that I was able to bring back.
Awesome.
And my business card back in the day
Oh, okay.
with the Dalton gang.
Some legitimateness.
Yes, and then my picture there, and also the CDs and stuff that we had
Let's
done.
get a good look at that. Good shot of Billy, right? Look at that. That looks can't be done up better than that, can you?
Well, actually, my wife did all this. This was her baby,
Yeah.
and she
Well, it's 'cause you're her baby.
She treated me like a king, and I'm trying to treat her like a queen now.
There you go. Well, that's our show, Billy. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching at home. We hope you've learned something new about guitar, and we'll see you on the next show.
Thank you.
Thank you.